Can you introduce yourself and your company?
Yeah, sure. Peter Forrest, Launceston IT. We've been going for about 13 years now. Just started out with a little ad on Gumtree that said, "I'm Peter, I'll fix your computer, $50 an hour, no fix, no charge." And that really just went from there. It really just kind of took off. We said yes to everything and everyone. Can you do this? Yeah, absolutely we can. And it went from fixing computers to installing cabling to Wi-Fi to phone systems and internet, and yeah.
What do you love about IT? What really drives you? How did you get into it?
I've always been a computer nerd since I was a kid, and so it really was an extension of that, but I never had the courage to start a business. So I ended up starting this business as more like, sort of like a, you know what, if I put this ad up and someone pays me $50, I will be there with bells on, right? What are the chances of someone actually paying me good money to fix computers? I thought that would be awesome. And it just grew because IT is a really big industry. It's massive. You can get into any different type of technology or solution or anything. And so for someone who really likes to learn new things and just keep learning, there's no end to it. It's not like you've been doing it for 10 years and you pretty much know everything there is to know after 10 years and not even scratching the surface. So it's exciting because it's always changing too. And even if you did 40 years in it, everything you knew has already changed already, so you got to start again.
What kind of services do you offer now? It's a wide range, but
we pitch ourselves as like the one-stop shop for small to medium business. So the idea is that we're like your provider, but then we're also your internal IT department. So whereas most people have one internet provider, a phone provider, they've got a printer guy, they've got a website guy or gal, we aim to do all of that. So we provide the service, but we also fix the things as well. So it's a bit of both. It's both sides of the coin, which is a bit ambitious, but it's a better customer experience. That's the idea of it. It's meant to be much easier and less stress. You don't have to call 6 different people when you've got a problem, you just call one.
And do you have a team to help you?
Yeah, there's 9 of us so far, quickly expanding. We'll have our 10th one soon. Yeah, and everyone's kind of got their own specialty. So we've got guys on the help desk, people that are better with phone systems, some better with the more technical things and custom solutions. Sometimes we've got the call because no one else could handle some bespoke type of thing. Oh, we need this one special thing that everyone else said that they can't do. And that's fine. We've got people that specialise in everything. My wife does the websites. She's super creative. I don't have a creative bone in my body, so that works well. So yeah, we do a fair bit of everything.
How do you find juggling working with a partner, family stuff, all of that? Is it just a vibe thing? Is it a structural thing? Like how does that work?
Firstly, I'd say I don't recommend it. But once you get a structure in place, it works really well. Yep. Look, it probably took us, I'd say 6 years before we figured out a good flow. Yeah, in the early days it was hard. I had a lot of stuff going on with me about I don't want to be told what to do. I don't want to work with anyone else. I'm the boss. It's all about me.
Yeah.
But then I realised at some point, actually, 2 minds are better than one.
Yeah.
And when I started to think a bit differently about that, and we had a bit of a structure around it, if either one of us says, I don't want to talk about work after outside of business hours, that's it, we just don't. Yeah. And there's no yeah buts. There's just, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
So, that works well. We respect our personal boundaries because you can be wired in, when you work for yourself, you can be wired into business 24/7. Yeah.
Yeah, not easy to switch off sometimes.
Yeah.
Where are your customers?
Oh, everywhere.
Yeah.
Obviously a lot in Launceston, but then definitely across the state. It's often that some sites we've got people all over the country, clients all over the country. Often it'll be big companies that'll have sites in Launceston, and then we'll do such a great job in Launceston, they'll say, oh, why don't you handle our Melbourne and Sydney office or something like that. We've also got a couple of smaller brands that are national, they're just online, and people will call us from New South Wales and they'll say, we need tech support for our business, and we can do that all remotely. So that's part of, a couple of our other little side hustles that we have there.
Okay.
Just brands that they're only online.
Okay.
And so they just look like a generic IT company that they can call up for just a little bit of tech support here and there. But often they say, oh, actually, I need the whole lot. Can you do everything?
Yeah.
Sure, no worries.
Yeah, okay. So can you talk a little bit about the thinking of having these other brands? They serve specific niches or?
Yeah, so what we found is that we had quite a few what we call spare technician hours. Out of a 40-hour week, some people might only be doing 10 or 15 billable hours. So we thought, how could we utilise that? What would be a great way to continue to do billable hours without what's the easiest way to get new customers in? So we built this brand called Techs on Demand. So technicians that you can just call whenever you need. And so the website is really aimed at people put into Google, I need a technician in my area.
Yeah.
And then it just shows them a website where you can pay by the 15-minute increment, and we'll fix your printer, we'll fix your website, your email, whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
And that way they're only paying for exactly what they're getting. They don't necessarily want the whole everything, they just want a little bit of tech support.
Yep. And that's mainly for consumers or business?
A bit of both. We try to aim it more towards business.
Yeah.
Consumers, it's a slightly different market, whereas business, they know exactly what they want. It's generally just going to be within the channels that we've got.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty straightforward. Consumer is a little bit different. They're usually best serviced by someone local.
Yeah.
They have slightly different needs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the new one that we're going to launch soon is more aimed just around phone systems.
Okay.
So if someone just wants a phone system and that's all they want, they don't want tech support, they don't need their printer fixed or anything like that, they can just sign up for a phone system and it's all completely online. They get the app on their phone, they're done. It's all done on the same day.
Wow.
So yeah.
Technology and service.
Yeah, and if they have any issues, they get to call someone here in Australia rather than overseas, or so there's real experts, like actual technicians answering the phone, not just being handballed from department to department and all of that stuff that everyone generally associates with IT support. Yeah.
Have you found it difficult finding people for your team?
No, the difficult thing is saying no, or picking what we think is the best or the most suitable. We have a lot of people that want to come work for us. Probably they usually say that they look at our website and they think this is a great family company, you've got good values, it's something a little bit different to most generic. You're a number, here's your chair, here's your button. When I say press the button, you press the button. We try to get people we want everyone to be across everything because it's good for our customers, of course, but it's also good for the technicians. They get to learn a bit about everything. So you're not just a one-trick pony after you've been there for 7 years. You know a lot about a lot of different things.
What are some of the challenges that you've had along the way?
Challenges. Scaling is difficult because I didn't really plan on this being so big at the very beginning. I just thought, I'm just going to fix computers. But then as you grow, you realise actually the current system you've got for managing this, it's inadequate. We need this to have some kind of automation. How can we get leverage here? I don't want to spend 5 hours doing this one thing. I want to be able to do it in 15 minutes. But now we've got 3,000 email addresses that need this one thing doing to it. How do we do that at scale? That's not easy. So we've got to go back to the drawing board, of which it's usually, here we go, Peter's getting the whiteboard out again. And we get everyone involved, and all right, come on, what do you guys think? We get all the input and we go through how we're gonna do this. And it's great getting everyone's opinion and their take on this problem and how to solve it. We come up with the best solutions, it's great, but it takes a lot of work, especially on the growth curve that we've had, especially in IT. You've got to, if you don't have that scale, if you don't have that leverage, you can't survive because you've got this constant push-pull between wages and an income. I would love to employ another 20 or 30 people, but it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So you've got to find a way to do it with leverage.
Yeah.
So that's the hardest bit. It takes the most amount of thinking and the most amount of time to design a system that really works. Yeah.
Do you enjoy that side of it?
Yeah,
It's very different to fixing computers.
It is, yeah. I like it because I know that, like, for every hour that I invest into it, I get back 100 or I get back 500. Like, it's one of those things where you can continue to invest in your systems and you get back way more than you put in. Yeah, it's going to take a long time to build a rock solid system, but if that means that we go from being able to deal with 500 users, but now we can go to 5,000 or 50,000 with not much effort, like, it's infinitely worthwhile. Yeah.
Do you have a business mentor or someone who's given you guidance, or you can bounce ideas off and gain benefit from their experience, or have you just made your own way?
A bit of both. I've had mentors on and off throughout the years, business coaches and that sort of thing, and I think I find that really, if you just do what's right in front of you, well, I've found, I often already know the answer that needs to be done. Sometimes it needs a bit of coaching, a bit of workshopping, but oftentimes if I just sit down and focus and have a look at the problems and write them out in front of me, the way forward is fairly clear.
Yeah.
But in the early days, there was definitely a lot of, I need to think differently. And that continual changing of my thinking from small to larger to even bigger again, that does usually take a coach or some kind of mentor to snap you out of thinking small.
Yeah.
It's always a case of I'm thinking too small.
Yeah.
I think, and probably for most small business, you're always thinking small because when you start, you're a technician.
Yeah.
You're of some kind, like the E-Myth, right? You're the technician E-Myth.
Yeah. So the baker is his example often,
that's
isn't
right,
it?
yeah. And so you're always just thinking about just your small little lot. But coaching is generally always the same. It's always think bigger, which is hard. Or start with the end in mind and then work backwards.
Yes.
And then what would you have to do if you're working backwards to fulfill that?
Yeah.
If you just continually, if I eventually got the idea, this is what I've got to do, I've got to think bigger.
Yeah. Oh, very good. All right. Do you see changes in the industry?
Yeah, massive changes at the moment. Obviously, AI is just in everything.
Yeah.
Even things that don't have AI, they just call it AI, right?
Yeah,
It's just a buzzword at the moment.
Yeah.
Is it a bubble? Yeah, probably to some extent. Maybe, depends who you believe.
Yeah.
What it's doing for us is it's making things that were harder a lot easier. So we can make more progress with less staff or less human hours. We can do things that we couldn't ordinarily do before. We want to design a custom solution for something.
Yeah.
We can do that now without having to invest $100,000, $200,000 in labour hours to build something across 4 different positions: a database programmer, a front-end developer, a back-end developer, all these different skill sets that are like, you need someone with 10 years experience in each of them, right?
Yeah.
If you've got the vision, if your vision's clear enough, you can now do everything with AI. It doesn't make it instant or free or anything like that, but it just makes it possible.
Yeah.
So definitely AI is opening up huge amounts of things. For us, we just see infinite amounts of customization that we can do. And the technology is obviously getting faster and slightly different as well.
Yeah. Things
are moving in a rapid pace. Like 5-year-old technology is now ancient history.
Yeah.
Where it's crazy. Internet is getting insanely faster. You can spin up a 500 megabit connection and it's just as cheap as your old 25 meg connection you had 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
It's moving so fast. Starlink, you can get internet absolutely anywhere, right? So that opens up all kinds of possibilities for rural.
Yeah.
A lot of farms we're doing with Starlink, and okay, now we can have, Starlink internet connection. We can hook up dairies. We can hook up remote sites kilometres away. Cameras. We can have security cameras across kilometres and kilometres of bushland, if that's what you need. It's there's no problem now. And having AI and cameras to detect faces and number plates, and so it's all moving very fast.
Yeah.
And it's showing no signs of slowing down. The big players are like heavily invested
Yeah.
in making sure there's no slowdown.
Yes.
And it's at times scary, but it's also very exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the work that you've been doing on farms and any similar work that you do out in other parts of the Meander Valley?
Yeah, so we do a fair bit of work with dairies. Dairies are usually where we do a fair bit of work, or anywhere there's a lot of livestock of some kind, and also crops as well. So a lot of people have crops that have their pivots, and they want to be able to control all the pivots at once. They want to have it on their phone, or if they don't want that, as soon as they see it, they go, wow, I can do all of that just from my phone. That's awesome. How do I do it? Having a central control to see, how much water has gone out to different parts of the farm, what the weather's going to be like, how much rainfall we've had. You want to be able to collect all the data and see it all right in front of you, so you can make decisions all from your phone rather than it being difficult, manual, slow, having to drive out to pivots, having to do everything manually. Between using drones and using your mobile phone, you can do everything from literally anywhere in the world, right? So we've got partnered up with people who do drone work, so they might go out and look at all the gores in the area. We want to identify across 500 hectares how much gores have we got across the whole place, and then we want to set up a spray schedule, and then we want to make sure that over a period of time that's dying out, we can get rid of it. Okay, or we want to check for propagation, right? So we're going to, once you plant all the seed, you want to know exactly how much actually took and how much actually died. So what's the yield here? For that, you've got to count every single plant, you know, not a job for a human. Right, so we'll send drones over and they'll count how many hundreds of thousands of seeds actually took and what the progress was and all that sort of stuff. And we'll feed that data back into the database and produce some report where you can say, okay, wow, that was actually really successful, or actually, no, that wasn't successful. What can we do better? Or it might be photography over a period of time, so you can monitor the progress. Or looking for livestock, looking for dead livestock, so you can deal with it promptly. Yeah. Do all that with drones, and you can do it all fully automated. You don't even need to be there. So, and we're talking across hectares and hectares. We're not talking little hobby farms. We're talking massive farms. So that's like really fun. We've done our biggest fibre optic network was 9.5 kilometres of optic fibre. We connected up about 20 buildings and about 20 cameras across the site, so they can see who's coming in, who's going out, what people are up to. It's mainly for contractors, just to see the security of the site, because the site's so big. It's got so many different entrances and exits, so that was a big job. But the putting in the optic fibre into the ground, that was a huge investment, but it's one of these farms that is going to be handed down from generation to generation, and they decide to invest in that. You could also do it wirelessly as well, if provided we've got reasonably flat ground, that sort of thing. Heaps of different avenues for agriculture. It's really about how can we help them do more with less. A bit of infrastructure investment, and then hopefully we can go from having 20 or 30 staff and only managing this much to keep the 20, 30 staff, but now we can manage 10 times as much and keep growing and growing without needing to continually, this battle between wages and income, it's tricky.
Plans for the business?
Definitely moving into the software area a bit more, so custom solutions. So it really gives us an ability to, we're really into custom systems. So custom meaning that your business works, even though you're in the same industry as this guy, it's slightly different. The way you want to do things is going to be a little bit different. And you've got this laborious task that costs you 10 hours a week. How can we get that down to 1 hour a week, or even disappear it completely? So allowing businesses to scale as well. So you can do that with software. Now it takes a bit of understanding how your business works, and then once we understand that, we can go, okay, I can see a real inefficiency here. How can we solve that with software? You've got people filling out physical paper, and then you've got to scan that and get it into this system. Why don't we just eliminate that
Yeah.
entirely? Why don't we make an app where your customers can do that on the phone and it goes straight into your database, and there's no need for the paper and the printing and the scanning and everything.
Yeah.
You've just wiped out a whole bunch of steps in between.
Yeah.
So moving into software is definitely where we're going.
Yeah.
And doing things at scale. So we've bought one IT company recently. We're looking at 2 others, and with that, it's really putting the pressure on us being able to scale. So we've got to develop our systems to be able to scale. We're not just dealing with 50 or 100 domains anymore. We now need to deal with 1,000 domains or 2,000 domains. So how do we do that? So if we can improve our system, that means we can leverage that system even better. So we now start to get to move up a level, and service more customers easier, and bigger customers as well, instead of just dealing with people with 5, 10, 20 staff. It should be no big deal for us to deal with 100, 200, 500. Once the system's developed, it really shouldn't matter. So it's very much about moving up a level in our expansion and ability to take on bigger things, and using software to do that. And as we develop our software, we can also help develop our customers' software as well, get them off these old antiquated systems that they're using that are really costing a lot of time, and human error is still a part of it. Let's automate as much as we can so that free up your humans to be able to do, I don't know, more face-to-face, connect with your customers a bit more, spend a bit more time with them, or actually go through your customer files and say, oh hey, I haven't caught up with this person in a while, why don't we organise a catch-up, instead of, I don't have time for that because I'm so busy doing this thing, I'm tied to this thing that's very, requires so much input.
An exciting future.
Really exciting. It's like the further we go down this rabbit hole, the more tech we get into, the bigger it gets. There's no signs of slowing down.